Greetings to you all! I know that a lot of people are interested in movies on film. That's why I came back to BFI IMAX to capture how 1570mm print of Oppenheimer is laced through the IMAX GT projector. Just before I start, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to Projector channel. It is very important as your subscriptions are helping me to open doors into exciting places like this BFI IMAX theater. If you would like to support Projector channel financially, you can use the Super Thanks feature here on YouTube or consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You will find all the links in the description down below. Senior projectionist Cesar Mendive will be lacing up Oppenheimer print for today's screening. Michael Ford has kindly agreed to comment on the lacing up process, which I appreciate a lot as he is a projectionist with over 40 years of experience and currently is the technical manager at BFI IMAX.
At the start of every show, the projector has to be thoroughly cleaned. Cesar is cleaning the rotor to remove any dust particles from the previous show. This includes cleaning the air jets, actual rotor itself, and the registration pins to remove any dust that might go back onto the print on the next show.
Another measure that helps to keep the image clear and free of dust is PTR rollers.
We also use particle transfer rollers, which were made by Kodak. They remove dust from the film and they can be washed and reused again after they're dry.
The platter with Oppenheimer print is already on the table, so Cesar just needs to remove the cover. Michael will explain further.
Next part which has to be removed is the center take-up ring. When the film is wound onto the platter, it takes up onto the ring, so this has to be removed so the feed unit can be put into place.
By the way, here you can see the connector for the feed unit, which Cesar will mount in a moment. First, he needs to wind up the leader. Leader is about 10 meters of film attached to the beginning of the print. It is needed so the projectionist doesn't have to worry about damaging the actual film print while lacing up the projector. Usually it's strips of an old or blank film.
Here comes the feed unit. It has a sensor which tracks the film that passes through the unit and sends the command to the motor to increase or decrease the speed. You can spot that when Cesar starts pulling the film, the platter starts spinning automatically. Now the film is laced through a large number of rollers. Cesar has to pay attention as he has to twist the film the correct way. If a mistake has been made, the movie will be projected upside down. Now when the film has reached the projector, it is laced through the particle transfer rollers which Cesar installed earlier. After it's done, the film goes through the lower deck of the projector. The IMAX GT is capable of playing 3D movies. That's why it has two decks. Top for the right and bottom one is for the left eye. Next very important step is to lock the frame line correctly. Frame line is a thin black gap which separates two frames. If it is offset even by one perforation, it will be seen on the screen and the presentation will be stopped. After the frame line is locked, both stators can be locked. Now Cesar will create the loop. The rolling loop is like a wave of film, which is needed so the projector can operate correctly.
By the way, please let me know in the comments below if you would like me to cover the topic of the 70mm IMAX GT projector rolling loop in full detail. Okay, let's carry on.
Next, Cesar will clean the fill flattener. Because of the size of the IMAX frame, it needs support, otherwise it might warp and some parts of it might not be in focus. This glass lens provides a flat surface for the frame. The glass has to be 100% spotless as any dust particles will be magnified thousands of times and will annoy the audience.
Some of you might have spotted that the field flattener is way taller than the film frame. This is done as another measure to keep the projected image clean. Michael will explain how it works exactly in a moment.
Great. Now the field flattener is clean, but before Cesar reinserts it, he will mount a wiper bar. They will collect any particles that are stuck on the field flattener. They are sometimes similar to windscreen wipers. The only difference is the wiper bars remain stationary and the field flattener moves relative to them. There are two ways of controlling the field flattener movement. One is by using this remote controller, which can be operated from a projection booth or the auditorium. The second option is to program the projector to move the glass automatically every few seconds. Now the main lens mount can be locked, as well as the output status for both decks. A few turns to make sure that everything operates correctly. Now Cesar is checking once again that the frame line on both input and output sides of the projector is locked correctly. What is left now is to lace the film through the output side of the projector and bring it to the receiving platter. Now the film goes back and forward through a set of rollers which act as a tension buffer. They are needed to maintain constant tension and prevent the film from snapping. The film is not attached to a platter, it is only held by tension created after Cesar wraps it around the centre ring a few times. At this stage, the lacing up is almost complete. Now Cesar has to perform one of the multiple checks to eliminate any mistakes.
IMAX GT projector is capable of playing regular as well as 3D movies, so at this point the projectionist has to select which platters are in use. Originally the device that controlled platters was Palm M130. Released back in 2002, it is still used by some IMAX theaters today. However, it looks like the original Palm disappeared since the last time I was here.
Here at the BFI IMAX, we replaced it with a tablet, which is running Palm Emulator app. After checking the film once again, Cesar can close the projector hood. Now with a press of a button, the projector is moved into the show position. Now there are a few steps left to do. First is to reset the frame count so the projector knows it's on frame 1 of the movie. Next, correct soundtrack has to be selected. In this particular case, it has a code name, Gadget. When it is done, Projectionist has to press the lock button. That will keep image and sound perfectly in sync.
As Cesar has finished his shift, another projectionist, Alex Krivitskas, is going to take over and start the screening. Starting the presentation is the most crucial moment of the whole process. It is definitely nerve-wracking even for a projectionist with such a huge experience like Michael.
It doesn't matter how many times you have done it. Before starting the film, adrenaline levels are always rising, and you're always very cautious of everything that you do to make sure the show goes on perfectly. And here we are. The movie is now running. The audience is watching it, and we are now happy.
As you have witnessed, it takes a lot of effort, knowledge and professionalism to run a 1570 IMAX presentation. It is sad that movies on 70mm IMAX film are becoming more rare. However, I believe that there is a hope that the movies on film will come back the same way it happened with vinyl records. This is it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe to Bortek channel. You can also suggest topics for new videos in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.